elephants all over Beijing. What is going on? Last weekend, Beijing turned African for a few days as billboards, posters and banners all over the city welcomed delegates from 48 African countries to the capital for a summit meeting. If you weren't here, it's difficult to imagine the hype and enthusiasm generated. Western countries looked on nervously at this new Southeast alliance as African and Chinese delegates signed around $2 billion worth of deals, which may push two-way trade between China and Africa up to $50 billion this year. We asked some Beijingers and Africans in Beijing what they thought of this new initiative that the Financial Times called a diplomatic coup for China.
在毛主席那个时代，非洲和中东和阿拉伯国家作为第三世界被提的很多，但是到了90年代，改革开放之后，就是提到的外国这个词中间，好像只有欧美国家，没有非洲，所以实际上我对非洲了解并不多。
Where are you from?
I'm from Mauritania.
Mauritania?
Yeah. China used to be a mysterious country, to many Africans. I came here, it was quite different. It's a beautiful country, huge, very developed. People are very friendly, many exciting things to see, many things like to learn.
I think this guy's actually from Papua New Guinea, but I suppose it's the thought that counts.
我们也欢迎一些，就是说非洲国家的人呢，欢迎他们到我们中国来玩。我们中国像北京啊、上海啊，他们都因为现在发展的比较快，希望他们有时间过来玩。而且呢，我们当然了，中国人也对非洲也非常感兴趣。还有一些那个，因为我去过摩洛哥，那边呢怎么说呢？就是说他们的文化和我们的文化是有区别的，我们对他们的文化也是非常感兴趣的。
And so, what do you think about all these signs all over Beijing for the Sino-African summit?
I was charmed by them. I thought it was. They made an effort, to welcome African people, to make it. It's what they imagine Africa is, and so for me, I thought it was very charming. I like it.
那啥香香报什么的都看过了吗？
看了，
怎么样？
挺好的，就觉得反正原先挺遥远的，就觉得，然后都是了解少，就觉得
是吧？
对，因为中国在亚洲嘛，非洲那么远，他俩隔的，然后就是对那边的了解啊，或者是那些事情啊、人啊，或者地理风貌啊什么那些的经济发展啊，都不太了解。
My name is Bob Arfode. I'm from the west coast of Africa, from Sierra Leone. And I've been here for like 10 years now, and I've been in business for the past close to 8 years now.
And what do you do here?
I'm basically running a small service company called the Beijing Car Solution, and we basically cater for automobile services for foreigners, mainly the diplomatic and the expat population here in Beijing in particular.
And what is your impression about this big China-African summit, as someone who lives in Beijing, as an African who lives in Beijing?
To me, first is something very spectacular because, if I'm right, it might be the first in the Chinese history. And so, for me, it's very spectacular and something that will bring a lot of dramatic changes between China and African relations.
Do you think on a smaller level, for example, I'm from South Africa, I'm an African too, and you're also an entrepreneur, and I sometimes wonder, okay, is this going to affect us as African business people in China? What do you think about that?
Well, yes, somehow it will affect us positively in particular because, before the summit, it was a bit difficult to really get into the Chinese culture simply because, they have very little knowledge about Africans, which is real because they were mainly adapted to the Western culture somehow. And so after the summit, it might be a bit, especially if you're doing business in China, it might be a bit easier than compared to the past because most of the Chinese, we have wider knowledge of, the Africans and people that he could do business with, because, during the summit, they see their presidents, their leaders shaking hands, signing deals with top African leaders. It means that, yes, Africans are people that you could have a successful partner with. So this can create somehow a very positive impact in the Chinese population, especially in the business sector in particular. So yeah, overall, we have a positive impact for the African entrepreneurs in China.
It's been a fascinating week in Beijing, but it's easy to sign a bunch of papers. Now we'll see if reality actually matches the sweet words. This is Jeremy Goldkorn for Danwei TV in Beijing.